Thank you so much for tuning in to Horrible People Podcast. I'm Jen McDonald, and the horrible person that I'm speaking with today is Wes David. I met Wes about a year ago at the Caribou Outdoors Industry Show. It was a trade show for industry members, dealers, manufacturers, all that fun stuff. Wes is a phenomenal advocate for the outdoor industry, outdoor community, conservation, fishing, and he's got a pretty interesting past. So yeah, Wes, do you want to give us a quick little introduction of who you are and where you come from?
Well, thanks for having me, Jen. I always hunted and fished growing up on a cattle farm, Bicycle, Alberta. I always hunted and fished, but my mom and dad, my dad was a calf roper. My dad was a barrel racer. So I was always around rodeo. My uncles were Roy and Ron David, chuck wagon drivers. So I was forever around rodeo. I grew up with rodeo and cattle. And
Oh, I love it.
so I started riding steers at age 6 or 7. Graduated to the junior bull riding and then went into bull riding. I rode horses lots at home. You know, we did a lot of cattle work with the horses and stuff, but I tried it in the rodeos, but it's too far down. Bull riding seems safer.
Oh yeah.
but
I
it
know.
was not. So I went up through the amateur ranks as bull riding till I made it professionally. And that's all I did for a living from age 19 till probably I was 27.
Oh wow.
And injuries did end my career.
Okay.
I don't know if I retired. I wasn't good enough to retire. I just quit. So when I was done rodeoing, unfortunately, mom and dad had divorced and the farm was gone. And I became a heavy-duty mechanic.
Oh
And
yeah.
I always loved hunting and fishing. Even when I was rodeoing, at one point I had like 27 fishing licenses throughout different states and provinces. Whenever I had time off, I would go fishing. And hunting kind of fell to the back burner because all the finals and everything was in the fall and it overlapped the hunting season. So if I was able to get out hunting, it was only for a day or two here and there. But once I was done rodeoing, I definitely made time for both hunting and fishing. And I was fortunate to turn my passion of fishing into making a living.
Yeah, that's amazing. You've got the TV show, and do you also do the outdoors writing as well currently?
Yeah, so I got my start with outdoor writing. I was tournament angling, walleye tournaments, and I was doing pretty good with the walleye tournaments, and I started writing, which isn't as easy as you think. Everybody, you know, I thought I had, this is the greatest article ever. And I sent it into the magazines and I got a very politically correct and polite, you need to work on your writing skills comment.
Okay.
So I joined the Outdoor Writers of Canada. And at the time they had like a mentor program, kind of like an apprenticeship.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So through Word document, you work with a mentor. I worked with TJ Schwanke
Oh, cool.
and back and forth, just working on my writing until I finally got a magazine, picked up some of my work, and then it progressed, and the tournament angling was kind of growing at the same time.
Okay.
And it got to the point where I was writing for 30 different Canadian and US magazines. And at my height, I wrote, I think, 102 articles in a year.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
I
a
mean, those
lot.
articles are anywhere from 800 words to 2,000 words.
Okay.
So, and then with that came photography because you got to supply your own photos. So I got into that. And again, and I still write. I've stopped writing for a lot of magazines. I do about 25 or 30 articles a year now.
Okay.
And the bulk of them are all fishing articles. And I'll do some conservation stuff. A lot of the conservation groups will reach out and we'll do, I'll do different things with them.
Good.
But from that grew Fish in the Wild West TV.
So the writing was before the TV
Yep.
show. Okay.
So they kind of grew together. So the tournament angling, the writing. And I was actually coming home from a tournament. I was working up north as a heavy duty mechanic, and I was working in Fort McMurray, 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out. So I had 2 weeks to hunt, fish. It was the best.
Yeah.
I was coming home from a tournament, and a production company reached out to me and said, would you be interested in hosting a fishing show? And I don't even know if they got all the words out of their mouth, and I agree.
That sounds like an exciting offer.
Yeah, that's where it grew from there. The first year was with another production company, and I quickly learned that, I did all the work, but they got all the money.
Okay.
So I came home. I told my wife, I said, we now own a production company. I bought about $25,000 worth of camera gear that I didn't even know how to turn on. But found someone who did, and I went out, and we are now, next year, we'll be Fishing the Wild West TV's 10th season. We now air on 9 different networks, 5 in Canada, 4 in the US. And it's just been a really, really exciting.
I bet it's been a crazy adventure, and it's probably flown by like crazy. 10 years
Yeah.
Sounds like
A lot of learning curves.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what kind of like writing did you offer then before getting into this? Was it sort of educational pieces on the fishing or more like awareness pieces?
It just depended on what the individual magazine was looking for. Some wanted, adventure stories. Some wanted, tips and tricks type stories. And some wanted a blend of the both.
Okay.
And that would have been, when I first started writing, I was doing hunting and fishing.
Oh, okay.
So it was just depending on what the magazine was looking for. Sometimes they were very conservation heavy articles. And sometimes they were even just personal stories,
Nice.
And
It's a good blend.
And even with Fish and Wild West TV and the writing, I show, I love watching a hunting show, and they show that they miss, because that's the realities of hunting. Fishing will show that I lose a fish. That's the realities of fishing. So I'd also blend that into writing.
Okay.
You watch some of the Bassmasters, especially the shows, and they've got 10, 15 rods up front, and everything just always goes perfect. We don't edit that out. I mean, you can't tell me those guys have never kicked a rod off the side, stepped on a rod, So,
and I like that, because newer people get into it, watch this, and they get discouraged because they go out and it doesn't go perfectly. So if they see, all of the challenges you have to go through, or the fish lost, or the broken line, or whatever, then they're like, oh, yeah, it happens to the pros. It can happen to me.
That's the truth. That's the realities of hunting or fishing. And so that's what I showed and still do in my magazine articles. And I still enjoy writing. Okay. It's just the time. I don't have as much time to write as much.
Yeah.
And it did, honestly, when I started backing out of writing so much, because I was pressed for time with my scheduling and stuff, I personally felt that my articles were starting to suffer. Just trying to rush through them, get them done, meeting deadlines, and editors get cranky when you miss a deadline.
Yeah.
So I started backing out, and like I said, now I just do 25 or 30 articles a year.
That's good, I guess, to know kind of when it's time to let go of a little bit of that workload if you can't put as much of the effort into it, or whatever, the time, I should say.
And it was hard, because there's some magazines that, took a chance on me when I was a new writer.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I felt loyal to them, but it just got to be too much.
Yeah, you kind of grew in a different direction, I guess.
Yeah.
So you were saying that you left bull riding at 27. What is the average career span of a bull rider? Because I mean, I don't think they could go much longer than that, eh?
It all depends on the injuries you take throughout your career, and that's the truth. I've seen some incredible bull riders last just a couple years, depending on the injuries.
Okay.
And not only injuries, there's a lot of great bull riders out there that don't like the travel.
Oh, yeah.
The traveling where we used to go to 120, 125 rodeos or bull ridings mix a year.
Oh my God.
And they just don't like the travel. Um, just like everything in life, some people have different goals. So, home life might be different. A lot of
Yeah.
great bull riders and cowboys that I know and cowgirls, took over the family farm. So rodeo had to take a back burner, and then it eventually burnt out and the farm was priority.
Yeah.
So to answer the longevity of a bull rider is just how bad you want it or the injuries you take during your career.
Yeah, I bet. Like, what kind of what kind of injuries did you get during this? Because I mean, yeah, I love the rodeo. I used to ride like horseback, barrel racing, and eventing. And obviously watched the bull riders, and you see some of those falls and some of the injuries. It's just like out of
It's
this
a,
world,
it's amazing, Jen. The human body can take a lot.
I
Um,
guess.
and and before I get into the injuries, bull riding is not a strength event. It's a reaction, just like barrel racing is like riding a horse. You're not going to outpower a bull or a horse. It's a reaction sport. You got to be strong enough to control your body weight and balance with one hand.
Yeah, like it's physical.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not a strength event. It's a balance. But 90 or 80% of bull riding or any competitive sport, especially individual sport, is mental. You've got to be mentally tough. Anyone climbs over the chutes to get on a 2,000-pound bull and tells you, not that they're not scared, but they haven't, things run through your mind, they're lying to you. But you have to be mentally strong enough to control those thoughts and
Okay.
put them out of your mind. Because for every negative thought, why don't you spend your time on a positive thought?
Yeah, just
Like,
readjust how you think.
yeah. So, what if this bull steps on me or hits me with his horns? Getting hit with the horns isn't a big deal. It's like getting hit with a baseball bat. You can get up
Okay.
from that. Getting stepped on is a big deal because the
Okay.
ground doesn't give and the bull doesn't give. You give. Body parts give. So, you can think about that. Or what if he hits me with his horns or steps on me? Or you can think, what am I going to do with the money after I win? Or look at the belt buckle I could win, or it's going to put me this much further in the standings to go to the finals. So it really, what I learned from bull riding and rodeo in general on the mental side, I've carried with me throughout my entire life. And I truly believe I wouldn't be doing what I do now for a living if it wasn't what rodeo taught me. Like there was so much business and so
Okay.
much mental stuff I was learning that I didn't realize I was learning, but it carried over into my next life.
All of that experience, I guess.
Yeah. So back to the injuries thing, 4 broken legs, couple broken arms and collarbones. My shoulders, tore my shoulder. I've had surgery twice on my right, or 3 times on my right shoulder and once on my left. That's what ended my career. My shoulders,
Okay.
like it got to the point where my shoulders were falling out just putting my t-shirt on in the morning.
Oh, wow. Like dislocating and
Yeah. And
oh,
then the doctor said, listen, you're not leaving us much left here to work with.
yeah.
So, my greatest injury and what almost ended my career, and this is kind of a neat story. I was at a rodeo on Thursday and I was winning first or second when I left. Same thing on Friday, I was winning first or second or third. I went to 4 rodeos in 3 days and I was placed in the top 3 of all of them. Well, I went to a rodeo about an hour away from home when I was living on the farm, Drumheller, Alberta. And at the time, I had the bucking bull of Canada. I was 17, 18 years old. So I called everybody. Come watch me get on this big yellow bugger. I'm hot. This is going to be good. Well, about 4 seconds into it, he had great big devil horns. And he threw his head back and hit me in the face. And it broke everything in my face from my nose down. But when I came off, I'd hung up. but I was now knocked out, so I couldn't protect myself. So every time he would jump and kick, he would land on my back or my legs. And he broke both my legs, shattered my face, 4 ribs, and 1 rib went through a lung. And I remember when I finally came free, I was crawling and I tried to stand up and one leg folded. So I fell back down and I just kept crawling. I remember my whole family's there. Kids from school, my friends, everybody's there. And all I could see was blood, and blood was in my eyes. And I heard the crowd go, oh, and I looked under my arm and he was coming again. So I just gritted and there's nothing I could do. I had to take it. Well, someone grabbed me and dragged me under the fence and it all worked out, I guess.
Holy, I don't know to say if you got lucky or.
Yeah, I don't know either. But while I was healing, that my hero, my idol at the time was Lane Frost. Well, he was killed. So I'm healing. He was killed at Cheyenne Frontier Days. This
While you were healing?
In May, and he died in end of July.
Oh, okay.
And I said, okay, that's it. I'm done.
Okay.
When I heal, I just want to get on one more bull, win or lose, stay on, buck off. Didn't matter to me. I just wanted to quit on my own terms. I didn't. I healed, exercised, got back in shape, and didn't practice nothing. It was amateur rodeo, entered the rodeo and won the bull riding. I thought, wow, maybe I could just enter one more.
Yeah.
So I entered one for the next weekend, and I won second. Well, now I'm an 18-year-old kid, and I had about $1,800 in my hand. Well, maybe this isn't so bad.
Oh, no.
So I carried on. My bull riding career carried on to there for roughly another 10 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's where the mental strength really comes in after that.
Yeah.
But
I think as an 18-year-old kid and that much money in my hand, it was a little bit money motivated.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Absolutely. Money means a lot, means a lot at any age, but when you're young and you're starting to make money, yeah, it gets pretty addictive.
Yeah. So,
oh my God.
That's how I carried on.
That's crazy. Well, they always say, if you fall off a horse, you got to get back on or you're going to be too scared. And yeah, it's good that you did get back on instead of just fearing it and shutting down right there.
And truthfully, I was mentally prepared. I was done. I just wanted one more bull to quit on my own terms.
Yeah. And then 10 years later.
Life's funny.
Yes. It works in amazing ways. You do a lot of work getting youth involved into fishing and everything as well, right?
Yes. I truly believe the future of hunting and fishing and trapping and outdoors lies within our youth. You and I
agree.
can promote it, can go do it, but we do have to pass it on in a positive light to the next generation. And there's a lot more inner city kids that I believe, are not always getting the right information about hunting, about fishing, farming, ranching. And I can say this because I've been in both. The most conservation-minded, the best conservation-minded people out there are hunters, anglers, farmers, and ranchers. And I can honestly say that without a shadow of a doubt. I think it was 2009, 2010, the winter of 2009 and 10, here in southern Alberta, there's big, terrible storms and heavy snow, and all the mule deer and antelope went down into the coulee to get out of the storms, but couldn't get out. And in the spring of the year, they found massive carcasses, that were just trapped down there. Well, all that was going on. The snow had crusted over, and antelope and deer were stepping through the snow, breaking through, and literally ripping the skin from their ankles to their knees.
That's terrible.
They wrote crazy amounts of stories about that, but they never once wrote about the farmers that were breaking trail for all these, made great big huge areas, put out round bales at their own expense for the wildlife. Not one article was, or maybe just a little 10
A
words on it.
snippet.
And I mean, that all comes out of their own pocket, their time, their effort. But they didn't do it for the recognition. They do it because it's the right thing to do.
That's it. And while they're often vilified, I mean, farmers even are often vilified, it would be nice to see an article showing and promoting this great act just to raise
Yeah.
awareness.
And that's what I try to promote. That's what I try to educate to youth. That hunters aren't killers. Fishermen aren't killers. This is part of our heritage. Canada, North America was built with hunting, fishing, and trapping, farming and ranching.
Mm-hmm.
So I do everything I can, and obviously different things have changed throughout the years, but I do everything I can to educate our youth. I hold a Kid Can Catch event. I talk in a lot of schools. And,
Yes. Okay, I've seen that.
When I first started talking in the schools, that's what really drove me to educate our youth. Is I had wildlife pictures there, and I was in the city in Calgary, in a school in Calgary, and I had a picture of a gopher. And there was a dozen kids in there never seen a gopher, didn't know what it was. And I thought, holy hell, this is scary.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's when I really stepped forward to do as much or more as I can to educate youth.
I feel like now we're losing it even quicker. I mean, it's the youth being connected with the wildlife around them, the realities of hunting, the realities of fishing. Do you find that there's a huge decrease in people getting into it, youth getting into it?
Well, one of the scary things first is, I think more because it's not so not dominant, but out and in a positive light. People, not only kids, but people, I'm sure they're convinced that the meat they eat comes from the grocery store.
Yeah, for sure. Some of the
they go in,
conversations
they
I've
get
had.
it, it's convenient, it's right there. But
no animals were harmed.
I think during COVID, where, I mean, I talked to countless hunters that said, even people that didn't, they didn't like wild game, all of a sudden they were asking if they had extra meat, extra sausage, extra pepperoni. Hunters didn't, the meat scare and the meat shortage and meat prices didn't really affect hunters because they go hunting. So in Alberta, I know they had spikes in hunting tags.
Okay.
Which is a good thing, but unfortunately, there was a lot of people that never hunted before, and they just got a tag, say a general white-tailed deer tag, and went out, but didn't really have a starting point. And not only with the hunting, but everything, asking permission on the landowner's land to go hunting. I talked with some people that went hunting, and they almost shot a mule deer because they didn't know the difference between whitetail and mule deer. It was another hunter that was with them.
Okay.
So I think that education out there is more important than ever before. And if we educate these people, they will be, they'll carry on our tradition of hunting and fishing.
That's how I see it. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I think education is, I think all hunters and anglers, if they have a chance to help educate, promote in a positive manner, to whether it be to kids, new hunter, whatever the case may be, it's our duty to educate and take it forward.
Yeah, absolutely. In a positive light. And I mean, I think accessibility is a huge thing too. Like growing up, I wanted to fish, but I just wasn't able to just kind of go out fishing on my own. So making it accessible for, kids or even adults that want to get into it is big. And I think like the speeches that you do at the schools is huge because that's something that the kids really listen to. And I mean, whenever I was young, like years ago, you really take those speeches home and you kind of talk about them and talk about them with your friends. So what kind of information do you offer to kids in those school presentations?
It depends. If I'm going into, let's just say, into a big city school, it's a bit different. It's the very basics.
You probably need a different
getting
approach.
the point
almost.
across that, hunters don't go out and kill a deer and just take his antlers. That drives me crazy. You want to get me wound up? Because I don't know of anyone in my circle that I've ever crossed that I'd
Me
never
either.
even heard of it.
No.
Now, granted, if a small buck and a big buck walks out, I'm taking the big buck.
Oh, yeah.
Maturity, but not just because of antlers. It's a bigger body. It's going to provide more meat. So in
And
the
it's
inner
not going to
cities,
live as
I
long.
talk about that stuff. If you go to smaller towns, especially agriculture towns, the bulk of them want me to talk about Fish in the Wild West TV. Basically what we're talking
Cool.
about. How I went from professional bull rider to a heavy-duty mechanic to owning a production company and a TV show. So
Yeah.
they vary depending where I'm going, but they all have that positive, not touch, a positive hit of, farmers, ranchers, hunters, and anglers.
Definitely. And I really, really like that idea of introducing the kids in the cities to that, because that's where we're really missing
Yes,
the
I
mark.
agree.
For sure.
And I will say this, I've had I've had an incredible amount of intelligent questions come back from kids, whether it be grade 6 and up, that want to know and want to understand. So,
Yeah.
if they don't know
I
what
like
a
that.
gopher is, but at least they're asking the right questions to understand.
Yeah, exactly. It gets them interested, and maybe they'll go home and try and research things on their own. Maybe they'll get a little spark of interest to get into it also.
Yeah.
And it'll kill some of that rumor that happens that we just shoot the deer, take its head and put it on the wall, leave the meat to rot.
That's right. Yeah. So that's my goal with education, is to
Amazing. I think that's huge.
Yeah, it's just promote us in a positive light, because we are.
Exactly. We care so much. We were honestly.
Yeah.
About the species.
And I took that same philosophy with Fish in the Wild West TV. When I designed Fish in the Wild West TV, my goal is just to help people catch one more fish.
Okay.
Or to show them where to go or how to do it. We do 13 episodes, 10 of them, wherever I go, whatever I do, the everyday angler can do. The other 3 are what we call trips of a lifetime. So West Coast, fly-in fishing trip to northern Saskatchewan or northern Manitoba, wherever the case may be. I believe every angler dreams, just like every hunter dreams of going to Alaska, every angler dreams of eventually doing a fly-in or a West Coast trip. And so that's what we show, but ultimately the goal is just to help people catch one more fish.
I like showing stuff that, the regular Joe can go out and do.
Yeah. And, we did here in Alberta about 4 years ago, we did an episode at stock trout ponds.
Okay.
So, very back to the basics, standing on the shoreline, casting out, a little J hook with a worm on it and a bobber, and just educating that way. We had some kids with us, and basically the show turned into how to teach parents and guardians to take their kids fishing.
Oh, that's smart.
And I was actually kind of worried about the episode, because I'm supposed to be this big fisherman, and here I am standing at a 4-acre trout pond. It was one of our most interactive episodes we've ever done. I can't count how many emails I answered.
Oh, I love that. I'm gonna have to find that one.
So we are planning to do that again in season 10.
Good. That'll be huge. Oh yeah, people would love that for sure.
Yeah, it was really good, and it was the one I was worried about.
Yeah, exactly. It always seems to be like that. It's something that's sort of a spur of the moment idea or something you're nervous about. Everything goes fine. It takes off as a hit.
Yeah.
Do you find your injuries affect your fishing? Because you said you had a lot of shoulder injuries.
No. Sometimes I get a little, my shoulders get fatigued. I just came from the West Coast.
Okay.
We fished 3 days, and I was fishing halibut and lingcod and salmon.
Oh, it's so cool.
With Serengeti fishing charters. And by day 3, pulling them big halibut off the bottom, my shoulders were getting not sore, but a little fatigued.
Tired.
And if you notice towards the end of the episode, I've really got my arm that I'm holding the rod really tucked into my body to try to take that
The
pull away.
pressure off, or
Yeah.
okay.
And that kind of, there's times where I anchored my elbow on my hip, just to,
Give you some support, I guess.
yeah.
Okay.
Traveling, with rodeo, I traveled crazy amount. Traveled just as much now, but I travel in a little more class. Not 4 or
Yeah.
5 cowboys jammed in a car or a truck.
A truck somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I get my own hotel room now.
Eating at truck stops and sleeping at
Yeah.
pay by the
So
hour motels.
I travel well, just as well, but as I get a little older, I don't recover from traveling as well. I need a couple days at home to. So, but when you're on the go, like the US shows get 9-10 months to do all their episodes. I get 5. So our 5 months, it's flat out.
You're
And then in
going.
the late fall and winter months and stuff, it's all the trade shows. But at least with the trade shows, and I love interacting with people, and I'd be lying to you if I said it wasn't flattering when somebody recognizes you or someone comes and talks to you. Like, you're going to take the time to talk to me, I'll take all the time in the world to talk to you. But at least at those, you're there for 3, 4, 5 days. So it kind of, you're not on the road.
Yeah. You're often kind of even sleeping like at the venue or close to the venue.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's such an awesome group of people. Like the atmosphere is just amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just a lot of fun. And where else can you go to one place and talk hunting and fishing and farming and ranch all under one roof?
I
Look at the
know.
latest gear, and so
with people that are as crazy about it as you are.
Yes, absolutely. So
Did you say
it's one of my favorite times.
Yeah, I know. We've got another like the Caribou Outdoors show again coming up in October that I'm really looking forward to, because that's a good one. You get to reconnect with all the people that you usually only talk to over email or over the phone or you see on social media.
That's right. And and I'll see you at the Caribou Show in Edmonton. I go to Winnipeg. Well, I leave on Sunday. We're going to southern Saskatchewan to do the last episode of the 2024 season. Then I got to be in Winnipeg, and I fly back. I think I got a day home, and then I'll be in Westlock at Westlock Power Sport and Marine. They're celebrating their 10th anniversary, so I'll be there. Bob Azumi and I will be there.
Oh, very neat.
And then to the Caribou Show. And I forget, I'm getting older, Jen. I need my schedule. I don't know where I am from there.
I know. I don't even know. Like, I have everything written down in my agenda. I don't really know what I'm doing with my life ever.
Yeah.
Are you getting out to do any hunting this season?
I am hoping so. Unfortunately, I wasn't drawn for anything this year, but I'll have a general whitetail tag. And my nephew's sons, so my cousin, 2 years ago, I started taking them hunting. Each year we go for 3 or 4 days, and he's got a mule deer doe draw. So he's 16
sweet.
now. I started hunting with him when I think he was 12 or 13. So it's kind of become a little bit of a tradition, and we go out together. My nephew and I, Lee, we're really close. He even named his son Wes. So the Wes's go hunting together.
I love that. That's
and
awesome.
That's the joys of passing it on. It's not just the hunting, the hunt. It's the camaraderie and spending time with family, friends. Whether the hunt is successful or not, I've got equal amounts of great memories from unsuccessful hunts as I do from successful hunts.
Yeah, I mean, even just being out in the field alone or with someone else, but if you're out with someone else, you form a different kind of bond, and like you're kind of working together differently. Yeah, for sure.
That to me is equally as important as filling the freezer.
Yeah, exactly. You can't say it's an unsuccessful hunt because you always learn something. And
yeah,
for sure. What kind of hunting have you been into? Because I mean, we don't really see the hunting side as much on your social media or on your show, but you're a big advocate for hunting, or a big hunter, I should say.
Yeah, I used to hunt a lot more. Now with Fish and Wild West TV and my production company is Bullets and Bait Limited, and we do a lot of other things, like a lot of different production stuff.
Oh,
okay. So it depends when I come off the water and what other projects are going on. how much I hunt, but I always plan at least a week or 2 weeks of hunting. I used to hunt a lot until my last until my last two shoulder surgeries. Like I can't draw a bow. I can draw a bow,
Oh,
but I can't hold it for very long without getting a little bit shaky, and even drawing it, I'm not as smooth. And so I decided to give it up, one, for time wise, but two, if I'm not confident that I can make 100% kill shot, I'm not going to. So archery, my archery hunting career ended first, and now it's just rifle. Even I used to do a lot of waterfowl hunting, but I have a pin now right
oh,
in my shoulder, right where the butt of your gun goes. And
that
two
has
or
gotta
three, even with
be.
the limb saver on and modern technology, after half a dozen shots, it starts to really irritate it.
I bet just bouncing right off that spot.
Yeah. So I do very, very little waterfowl hunting. I'm kind of a one-shot hunter now.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh my God. Would you use like even if like a 20 gauge or something like that? I'm sure it still
Yeah, but
gets
when it
after time.
hits, it's like biting on tin foil. Like
Oh
it's
my
a sharp,
God.
terrible pain. So I just
No,
say
forget it. Not worth it.
no.
Absolutely. So what kind of big game hunting do you do then? Like muleys and whitetail, or do you go for anything else through the
No, I
season?
last year I was fortunate enough to um take my biggest moose in Alberta ever.
Oh, cool.
Um, how it works is a good friend of mine, and he also does a lot of editing and camera work for him. Does pretty much all of it. Each year we always have our whitetail tag,
Okay.
and then if he's drawn for elk this year, we split it. And if I'm drawn for moose, like last year I was drawn for moose, so we split it.
Oh, cool.
So we each have our whitetail tags, but we each have one big game, like a
Okay.
moose or elk. And by going together, hunting together, and splitting the meat, feed two families, instead of just all going to one. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, though, neither one of us were drawn for an elk or moose this year, so we're just going for whitetail.
Okay. Well, that's still fun.
Yeah, and I'll charge my cousin there, Wes, that I'm going mule deer hunting. I'll charge him one backstrap.
Oh, there you go. That seems like a pretty good fee.
Yeah, it's a
I
pretty
think
good
that's
deal.
okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You were saying your production company. Did you say Bullets and Bait?
Bullets and Bait Limited is the production
Cool.
company that owns Fish in the Wild West TV.
Okay, so you started that to sort of produce, and then now you do you help with other shows?
Well, with a TV show, you have to have a production company like it.
Oh, okay.
So that's the umbrella company, and under it is Fish in the Wild West TV, outdoor writing, I don't film any other hunting or fishing shows, but we've done a lot of commercials. We've done a lot of Cam Clark Ford commercials. We've done a lot of
Oh,
tourism
cool.
commercials. Like I'll make a Pampers commercial. It doesn't matter. Like the
Just
camera, that was the farmer in me. I looked down at the cameras after the first season of Fish and Wild West TV, and I thought those need to be working.
I love that.
So I
Exactly.
started reaching out, and now
Machinery doesn't need to be sitting.
that's exactly right. Yeah, we had cameras out on a Western last year, on a Western movie being done.
Oh, cool.
I had a sound guy out there. So, like I said, it's you diversify like a farmer and keep the gear working.
Yeah, exactly. Everything should be making money.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome. Oh, well, thank you so much. Yeah, this was a really good eye opener for everything like the fishing that you do. And I really, really like that idea of going to speak to the kids in the cities because they need that education or awareness brought to them because especially now, like in the media, you always see so much negativity towards hunting and firearms and the outdoors. So
yeah. I
that's a
agree, and that
huge
is
eye
something.
opener.
Even after I retire from Fish and Wild West TV, that is something I will keep up as long as I can until I can't anymore because
Good.
it's so important.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really big thing. I think more people need to be aware of that and maybe get into that and offer that to cities and schools and stuff to help spread the word and point kids in the right direction so that we can make, educated and knowledgeable adults.
Well, and it's a part of not only you and I's heritage, but our country's heritage.
Yeah, their own heritage.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Their own heritage, and it's something that should be kept up.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, we can't let it die whatsoever. Amazing. Well, before I sign off, where can people find you online and on TV and on the internet?
Yeah, so Fish in the Wild West TV. We're on Facebook, Instagram. I do
That's your tag.
very little of that stuff. So I know we're a lot of places.
Yes, absolutely.
You can go to our YouTube or you can go right to our website, Fish in the Wild West TV, and then click the icons.
And they've got
take you right to us.
all the links there.
Sportsman Channel, Canada.
Watch on TV and go to the website.
Yeah. And if you see me at a trade show, please stop and say hi.
Yeah,
I can talk
for sure.
hunting and fishing all day.
I can agree with that for sure. Like the first time I met you, it was just super easy conversation. Hey, how's it going? We talked hunting, we talked fishing. It was great.
Yes. No, and I love it. I want to talk. Show me your pictures. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's always fun to talk fishing with somebody else that loves it just as much.
Yeah. One thing we're coming to an end. Anyone watching this who's going hunting this year, once you're done your hunt, whether you're successful or not successful, go back, thank the landowners for the use of their land. If you are, and I hope you are, successful, once you get your meat back, take them out some sausage and bottle of whiskey, whatever they like. Take care of the landowners, or they will take hunting access away.
That is a huge, huge one, because that's a big problem I hear a lot of hunters talk about is lack of land access.
Yeah.
And there's always, that one bad apple that ruins it for everybody else.
That's right. They're 100%. I've got landowners that I've hunted for 20, 25 years, and schedule pending. I've gone out to their branding. I've gone out and helped them build fence, and I 100% know that's why I've been hunting there for 20 years.
Yeah, you've got to give as much as you take.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh, well, thank you so much. I think that's a really good note to end on.
Well, thank you for having me, Jen, and thank you for doing the work that you're doing and getting this out in front of people.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you in October.
Okay, we'll see you then.
See you then.